Test. Okay.
One, two, one, two.
All right. Hey, welcome everyone. Okay, there we go. Welcome to the Healthier Homes Begin with Healthier Building Materials session. We have some great panelists today. We've got Paul, Colin, Andrew, Aaron, and then myself. We'll be going through a little bit more introduction here very shortly, but welcome. So today, really what we're going to be talking about is why materials can be, or how materials can be sourced and streamlined to make better residential homes. And today's panel, we're going to be talking about tools, partnerships, and practices to help you create better homes. So if you want, you can visit the booths to talk more with us, but we're going to keep these things at a pretty high level today overall. So let's meet the panelists. So here's Paul. He is from Ecomedes, there. And then we've got Colin from St. Gobain. All right. We've got Andrew from Empire Homes. And then Aaron Smith from EBA. And then myself, Corey White, and I'm from HPDC. So let's get into a little bit more introduction, more details, and Paul, you want to start us off?
Sure, thank you. I'm Paul Sherrieri, the founder and chief innovation officer at Ecomedes. I'm a civil engineer by training. I went to the University of Florida and got a master's of engineering management. And ever since I got out of college, I got lucky to kind of get sucked into the vortex of sustainability in the industry. Early member of the U.S. Green Building Council, one of the first 100 people to get that designation. And pretty much ever since then, either did the consulting part of it for the first 10 years, and about 10 years in, I just started realizing people needed data to make better decisions. So I founded 3 green tech companies, Ecologic 3, it was like cost-benefit analysis, Eco Scorecard that managed data for manufacturers to tell their story better, and Ecomedes is kind of like the merging of those two. All the data in the marketplace that you would want to go out and find as a scavenger hunt, as a builder, all that stuff has already been pulled for you. You can look at HPDs, EPDs, anything that you're looking for. Essentially, if it lives digitally, we've pulled it in. We'll do all the documentation for you, reporting. And I've been really focused on my clients. My clients, in my mind, are civilization, which is the built environment, and humanity, which are the people that occupy it. There's my daughters, Bella on the left-hand side with a little hat, and then Sophia when we built our first house after the first hurricane destroyed our house, Hurricane Charlie. Then the older picture is the house I live in now. We were building that one, and I have the kids and the family kind of help out. And this is the top picture up here. This is what it looked like during Hurricane Ian. That's our front yard where that RAV4 is sitting. The next morning, that's what our house looked like. Our house didn't cost $1 more to build, except it actually survived. Every other neighbor in our neighborhood had 3 feet of the Gulf of Mexico inside. And you could just see and that happened in 9 hours. I've lived in Florida all my life. It was dry, and then 9 hours later, there was that much water. There was no way to go anywhere. My boat actually came off the lift. I paddleboarded from my front door all the way around my house like an idiot, but I wanted to save my 30-year-old boat, so I saved it, but I had a life jacket and a ski rope attached to me. And then in the morning, this is what it looked like. And then 2 years later, Hurricane Helene destroyed the house I grew up in. So I'm really passionate about making decision-making easier, but that's essentially the face of what I dealt with during Hurricane Ian. And it absolutely sucked. But that's vinyl siding on my house. Not a single piece of vinyl siding fell off because I used the correct screws, which cost me about 7 cents more a box. So not a bad idea. So thank you for having me.
All right. Thanks, Paul. Move on to Colin.
All right. I'm Colin Harrington. I'm a program manager of sustainability, marketing, communications at St. Gobain North America. I help support our central ESG team, environmental social governance, and essentially what I do is I help promote product transparency and regulatory compliance across our entire portfolio, which spans from roofing to siding to insulation, wallboard, you name it, glass and metal claddings. So lots of things there, but really what I do is support at a very high level. How can we get our product transparency to the customer and make that process as easy as possible? My company, we define sustainability by breaking it down to 2 pillars. One is care for people, and one is care for planet. On the planet side, it's really focused on reducing our carbon emissions, increasing our energy efficiency, And then on the people side, it's more for promoting the health and safety of workers, and then promoting the health, well-being, and comfort of the building occupants at the end of the day. And then on a personal note, I love to play tennis, I play golf, I'm huge fans of both as well, so if you want to talk about those things, please come up. And I love traveling with my wife, my dog, whenever possible, and yeah, it's great to be here.
Very good. Thanks, Colin. Move on to Andrew next.
Yeah, hello everybody. Andrew Guido from Empire Homes. I was at Empire a decade ago for 4 years. Felt I was plateauing, decided to resign, pissed off the owners for maybe about 4 months. I left about 4 months before Christmas. I still got a Christmas present that year, so it's nice. In 2019, they found out that I was really deep diving into healthy homes. I had just completed my certification as a building biologist, and I had breakfast with them in November, and we did a handshake deal that I would build a discovery home that would be a production-friendly, healthy home that was within the budget that they set, and that I wouldn't kill too many trades. And so I had just those two parameters. If trades are happy and the budget's in place, maybe they'll build a few thousand of them. And so what ended up happening is before I ended up completing the project, they ended up approaching me. I had set up a company and they acquired my company, and I came along with it as part of the deal. So I'm VP of Sustainability and Innovation. In addition to the stuff I do on wellness, I also run a farm. I built a regenerative farm for Empire, and we supply employees weekly with fresh vegetables that are free of insecticide, pesticides, and we use 90% less water in doing it. So we've got 4 acres set aside in a 6,000 square foot greenhouse. Here to talk a little bit about the project when we get to my turn.
All right, very good. Thank you. We'll move on to Aaron.
Yeah, so Aaron Smith, I'm going to talk more about a little bit of my healthy materials journey. Some of you probably don't know the background on that, but lived in Connecticut before moving back here to Minnesota. That's probably why I chose a Cape Cod style house here in Minnesota, which is actually hard to find. But 9/11, many of you remember 9/11. I think we just celebrated 24th year of 9/11. Thing that blew me away is that that building kept killing people after the fact. The first responders, the firemen that went into that building, the cleanup crews, they all died because of the materials that we put in our building. So about a year after that, I was at a speed dating event in New York City. I was the director of sustainability for Assa Abloy at the time, which is a huge security products manufacturer. And Bill Walsh was sitting there, and Bill said to me, "Aaron, would you be willing to disclose what's in your products?" And I guess I was the first manufacturer ever to tell him yes. But I think we felt like, being from the tri-state area out in New York, that this was a really important thing. It was the next frontier. Also, one of my children was impacted. My wife was a hairdresser when we were first married. And some of the phthalates, you think, why do I need to buy shampoo that's phthalate free? And it turns out, a lot of times it's because of the people using it. And my wife, from exposure to those, our child had a birth defect from exposure to phthalates. I'm like, why don't we know what's in all of our products that we're putting in the built environment where we're spending 80, 88, 78, whatever the number is, % of our time? So we started disclosing, we started working with our supply chain and finding out what's actually in our products, which was a Herculean effort. Did, I think, the first health product declaration of what's in our product, and then was asked to be the only manufacturer allowed on the board at that time, but served on the board as treasurer of the HPDC, and it's still an organization that's very near and dear to my heart. So I know we're all going on this journey of learning about environmental product declarations together, and I would tell you that, yeah, that's extremely important, but HPDs are the other shoe, and we need to know what is going into our homes, what are the materials, what are the impacts on our occupant, because health is much more visceral to the occupants of the homes that we all build. So I hope you'll get to learn some of the tools. I will tell you, as we went on that journey further, and we did EPDs and HPDs, and we did no added urea formaldehyde and CARB 2 compliant products across our portfolio, I had known Paul from the industry. We were probably in the sustainability mafia, as we called it together. And I said, man, it's really difficult because all these builders and architects and developers are calling into customer service and saying, do you have no idea formaldehyde doors? And we said, let's get a platform where we can put that out to the marketplace and make it widely available. And I think it really became a driver of our sales and our business. I'm also very proud of working with Saint-Gobain. I've actually been to the headquarters in Paris, which was an incredible experience. And with their sheetrock division, we created a tranquility program where we did, because our door assemblies were STC 52 rating, and your wall assembly was 52, but there was some difficulty in the industry of, it's got to be the two together for it to be an STC 52 wall assembly. So great program that we did with Certainteed. And again, I will reiterate, a lot of what we're going through, incredible manufacturers like Saint-Gobain and their Certainteed brand, and there are many other brands. You actually own an electrochromic brand just south of here called Sage Electrochromics, which is an incredible product. It's a $55 billion company that's been doing incredible work on sustainability for 25 years. Boy, you can learn a lot, and I'll tell you, if you're buying sheetrock and you're not buying Certainteed sheetrock, you're missing the boat, for sure. So that's a little bit about me and my journey.
Great, thank you. Last but not least, myself, my name's Corey White. I am the technical director at HPDC. Really all that means is I take really complicated information that really smart people know, and I translate that so our developers and in the technology side of the business know the things to implement to make it sort of an easy button, which we'll get to. I live not far from here. I live in Eau Claire, Wisconsin, so that's only an hour and a half east of here in Wisconsin. I do own a small consulting firm. I help small businesses comply with OSHA EPA regulations, and also have a software product that helps with that. So working with HPDC is where both of those worlds sort of collide. Taking a look at, what are our employees being exposed to, not just the home builder, or not just the home occupants, right? And I can take that knowledge and then work with manufacturers, because I work with a lot of small manufacturers, and I can work with, people like Colin for the larger manufacturers. We can come together and have a united vision of, creating healthier products and better products for people. So I think this is a really great area where a lot of things dissect for me. But besides that biggest hobby, track and field, I'm a coach at UW Eau Claire, so University of Wisconsin Eau Claire. So if anybody is track and field people, come talk to me. I'd love to talk about some track and field. All right, so let's get into the presentation before we actually get to the panelists. So why does this matter to you? Overall, the biggest reason why I think Aaron wanted many of us to come here and talk about this is because, first off, we have a wide variety of knowledge here. We've got manufacturing, we've got technology, we've got a designer, and we can really come together and save time and reduce guesswork when we're trying to source materials. Okay. And that's important because in order to really get the future that a lot of us want, these things have to be scalable, right? They have to be easily accessible and scalable. And this work in the health front, taking a look at all of these hazards, it's very complicated, right? There's people, toxicologists that have doctorate degrees that are doing this work. We need to make it really accessible and understandable for the general public, right, so we can create better products. So we've got trusted experts here and tools, and I'm going to go over a high-level overview of how you can do this successfully. And just an example of how you can use some of these products is Indoor AirPlus is a huge part of the residential building, and you can sort of filter and source based on that Indoor AirPlus certification. So let's get into the how it's done. There we go. All right. So we have a great manufacturer, Saint-Gobain. Is it Saint-Gobain or Saint-Gobain?
You don't have to say the French
Okay,
accent.
okay, all right.
You say an American,
I
that's
know, when
fine.
you said that, I was like, oh man, maybe I should.
I went to Paris.
Yeah, okay.
Saint-Gobain.
Fair enough. So we have a great manufacturer making better products. What they do is they disclose and digitize their information at HPDC, which once you are transparent and understand what's in your product, you can create better products. So there's a little bit of a loop there. HPDC digitizes that information and gets it to great organizations like Ecomedes. So then companies like Empire Homes can build and maintain better buildings. So how is that done? It is done by, first off, formulating better products, right? We have so many great manufacturers that are creating really great products. I think just at HPDC, we have over 1,000 manufacturers that are being transparent about what's in their product. I think a while ago, as Aaron was alluding to, that was something that no one thought they would ever do, right? But now there's many manufacturers doing this. So it starts by formulating better products, and then from there, the manufacturer is going to be taking their bill of materials, and they're going to be disclosing that bill of materials in the HPD builder. So as much as the health product declaration is a document that has, hazard information on it, we are also the organization, we're a tech company, and we help manufacturers disclose their information in an efficient manner. And from there, once they understand the hazards that are in their products, they can then reformulate and create better products, right? So that's that cycle that we're looking at. But at the same time, when they're digitizing their information, they can also add in your different certifications, such as things for the Indoor AirPlus. So like the CDPH standard method, version 1.2, which is part of the requirements of Indoor AirPlus. They can also be putting that information into their HPD, which can then, since it's digitized, be easily filterable. So there is a HPD, which is like a physical document, like a PDF, but then there's the digital side, right? There's kind of like a digital footprint or fingerprint that goes with that product. And from there, we can send it to partners. HPDC can send it to digital partners such as Ecomedes, and from there, that information can be sourced. So Ecomedes allows for people like Empire Homes, right, to source better materials by using these filters. And with that, I'm going to just give it to Paul here really quick to go into detail on what that looks like within Ecomedes.
Sure, thanks. So this is an example. We have a major platform that's called products.ecomedes.com. It's free. It doesn't cost anything for anyone to build projects on there. So essentially, I just digitized myself 10 years ago. So way before there was agentic AI, it just basically does your homework to scavenger hunt the data, analyze the data, and then actually give you the reporting you want, all for free, so that Sophia and Bella that are living on this planet with all of us have a better tomorrow. So this is Saint-Gobain's portal. So this is actually our entire platform dedicated to them and all of their brands. So all the business units that have product data with us are on there. What you can see on the left-hand side is all the certifications that they've achieved and are transparent with. So cradle to cradle, declare, EPDs, HPDs, all those live in one place and at their product level. So every manufacturing plant has data in there. Every EPD that's different for every manufacturing plant is in there. So anything that you would want to ask, essentially a digital version of Colin. I always joke that we're digitizing Colin's brain, so it's available to you 24 hours a day so he can enjoy trips to Greece with his lovely wife. But the idea is to make it really easy for you that are doing such hard work, because you have to not only get Saint-Gobain data, you have to go get your roofing data, you have to go get your window data, you have to go get carpet data. We understand that that's hard because I've been on both sides of it. I've been the one asking for it. I've also been the one having to give it. So Ecomedes is kind of a free little tool in the middle of that. You can search and discover by whatever you care about, which is on the left-hand navigation, just like you'd be shopping on Amazon. And on the next slide, what it shows you is once you have searched and discovered the right products based on whatever you care about, because whatever you might care about might not be what the next builder wants, but all that data is available to you. On the next slide, it actually takes all that information without you having to do any organization. If I were building a house with certainty, outside, inside, roofing, all of it, I would probably have 52 to 150 separate EPDs, HPDs, a lot of PDFs, right? If you've ever downloaded any document on the web, more than likely you've downloaded it and you looked at the file name and you said, what in the holy hell is that? Like, it's not easy. So then you're creating a Google Drive folder. We do away with all that. You just put in the quantity, the unit prices. It'll automatically, with one click, check all those ingredients in your cart against LEED, WELL, Green Globes, LBC, SF Tool for the US government, Mindful Materials, CMF, anything that's a rubric that we could digitize, we essentially are going to do about 2 weeks of consulting work for you for free. And then after that, it'll also show you all the certificates, certainties achieved, EPDs, HPDs. So very quickly, we're always asking ourselves, can I check that box? We do all that for you. Because we believe, to the first point, is if we don't dramatically simplify sustainable decision making, it will never scale. And I think about this every day because I've been in this industry for as long as my kids were in strollers, and both of my kids have been to Greenbuilds when they were in strollers in a playpen one time because I didn't get childcare. My wife was so mad I took them to work, literally put them in a playpen and was putting my boot together. But now they're both out of college, and I can honestly say I think we've maybe plugged the dam a little bit. We've used some duct tape and some baling wire, but we have to accelerate better data-driven decision making, and the new generation of decision makers are almost demanding this from every brand. Whether it's the shoes they buy, the clothes they buy, like new modern buyers, whether they're baby boomers or young people, we've kind of gotten used to having data at our fingertips. And without that, we can't really make better decisions. So we're really proud of supporting Saint-Gobain, EBA, and a lot of the great users, because I always say we're not Batman in this story. We're Alfred. We make the tool that makes everyone else the hero of the story. Because without the person being willing to find the data, and then like Empire's doing, I mean, how many companies do you know that grow food for their employees? That's so amazing. And this is our way of helping the 40,000 people a month find the data they need. But I didn't make the drywall. Please just buy his drywall or USG or GAS roofing, because they're the ones doing really hard work to attain these things.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
So wait till. Could be.
Oh, maybe.
Yeah.
Other room. I like the superhero reference.
Yeah, Alfred.
I want to.
Thanks,
I want
Alfred.
to figure out where does HPD see. Are we also Alfred? Or?
Yeah.
Okay,
I mean,
sure.
Q, if you're into Bond.
Yeah, Q.
The Black Panther's sister. She was the cool magic maker.
Yeah. Okay, nice. Anyways, so that information is available with a couple clicks of a button, right? So it's available to companies like Empire Homes and Earth 360, right, to help build and maintain healthier buildings. So that's the whole point. So before we get into the panelists, we do want to go over just 2 really quick case studies on, how this is possible. So first, a little bit of a larger case study. This is Perkins & Will. So Perkins & Will created a building, it's actually called the Gene and Jerry Jones Family Hope Lodge in Dallas, Texas. And that was in partnership with the American Cancer Association. And in there, there is 50 guest rooms, and it can accommodate over 18,000 nights of free accommodations for those that are going through either, cancer treatments, or their families, I guess, are going through, are there to support the person going through the cancer treatments. So in order to design this, they used HPDs to help vet the different products that they were going to be using in it, because the last thing you want to do when you have cancer is to, expose them to more harmful materials. So with that, they implemented a good, better, best rating system with their internal library with the HPDs, and were then able to source better materials in order to provide a really great tool for the American Cancer Association. The next case study, I'll turn it over to Daniel.
Thank you. That's great. I'm learning a lot here myself. So I've been on this journey to try and develop a production-grade healthy home that'll help you with not getting sick, not getting the cold that you would get more frequently, avoiding asthma as much as possible. And the builder I'm with, it's not like these guys are that they're completely convinced that this is the way to go. So it's like a privileged position that I hope not to blow by doing this. So we developed this house that's on the slide right now. I made 55 changes to what a production grade home would be. I only had to change 2 trades. 2 trades didn't survive because they didn't have the talent or the care or the love, and so they had to be swapped. But all the other trades stayed intact with it. We looked at well over 100 materials, and I had to verify that number, and I went through my file and say, wow, that was that much. And I wish I had known more about HPD and about Ecomedes, because you would have saved me months of work. You know, every wet product in this house got swapped except one classification on it. Anybody want to guess at which classification I was scared to touch at all?
Exterior caulking?
Nope. Everything was interior. Okay.
Carpet?
Nope. We got rid of the carpet completely.
Yeah, that's happening.
Grout?
Nope. We found grout that had no formaldehyde in it. Contact cement. I was terrified of dealing with, you know, the materials, and then I'm going to get a call, plumbing burst. We had, you know, there's a reason that so we measure the material, the criteria that I used was 50 grams per liter or 1,000 mils of product. Contact cement is in the 500 on the low side, 900 on the high side, but it evaporates real quickly. There's a reason why the VOCs are there. I didn't have time to figure it out, and so I left it alone. So other than that, we switched every single product. We were able to find it, and I would, other than the time that was like killer, because you're calling manufacturers, we're verifying information. No one's willing to give this information up. MSDS and SDS sheets, if you follow it, they hide the information behind the proprietary formula. Some people lied, as we found out from the internet as we go through the information that's in place. One company was so difficult to deal with, I was going to report the guy. I called the office and said, who is this guy? And they said, he owns the company.
Oh, no.
So, you know, you meet every kind of character along the way. We had an architectural firm, EcoNest. If you're in the healthier home side, you'll know who they are. They're in Portland. They spent a little bit of time also identifying the caulkings for me, because it was just a heavy labor going through all this stuff. And then we had great trades that we had the painter that was, you know, he did 2 things, one thing really, really good and one thing really, really bad. And so on the really, really good side, I had brought the caulking down that would be like a DAP for trim. He said, Andrew, there's no way this is going to make it. I was down to 17 grams per liter, and I'm going, wow, this is incredible. I'm like, you know, more than half of my cutoff on it, but the damn thing wouldn't dry. And so, you know, he showed me. I went to the site, put the bead down, and he said, you can come back in 24 hours and it won't dry because I did it already. And he goes, I'm not coming back in 24 hours. So he said, could I do the research for you and I'll play with it? And you know what? He did it, and he found a caulking called Top Gun. I forget, there's a few initials after that. And it dried in like 10 minutes, enough that he could do his coat of paint. And that's what a partnership is like, you know, in terms of doing it. The other thing that he did, which he thought he was doing me a favor, is we specified a very low VOC paint. It didn't, the primer didn't quite hide. We used Certainteed's M2 Tech drywall, which if you know this drywall, it's got some properties for mold resistance, it's baby blue. And so a regular primer doesn't hide baby blue for it. So he ended up painting the house twice, which meant that twice the VOCs in the paint ended up in the house that I was trying to avoid. So it's kind of interesting. But as I went back to the data, I only found 4 HPDs on the products that we had. So we have a ways to go still in terms of being able to pick it up. Some of the companies that I cut off today have products that are below that 50 grams per liter of work. We've put in 13 sensors in this house so that we could track where things are going on it. So every bedroom's got a sensor. The main floors have got a sensor, and there's even a sensor in the basement, and there's a sensor in the attic that works in good weather. It's not a cold climate sensor. And then we put a sensor on the outdoors to give us an early warning system if something was happening or an event of some type. The other thing, it's an Energy Star approved home, so we're really dealing with, for us in Canada, Energy Star, you need 2.5 air changes per hour. In the United States, you've got a lot more leeway. You don't get to 2.5 until you're more north in your climate part. And one thing I forgot to put on the slide was I'm pretty proud of is that we may be possibly the only builder or the first builder, production builder, to have passed the ASHRAE standard 241 for infectious aerosol control, which means that if there's ever another event that's something like the pandemic, you can push a button and your house goes into booster mode. That's a little bit of fiction, but you have to push a few buttons. There is less than 1% probability if somebody isolates that's infected that everybody else in the house will be safe from that infection for doing it. So that's my story.
Wow, incredible. Booster mode. I think maybe you might be Batman in this situation.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we will get to our panel questions now. So we will start with Ecomedes, Paul. So the question is, how does Ecomedes streamline sourcing of healthier and sustainable materials for high-volume projects?
So we go out to all those data sources that are referenced in EVA standards, GSA standards, Canadian government standards. We essentially go like you would go, but instead of going and looking on their mostly fragmented websites, we actually just pull all that data as if we're clicking on every single button. We bring it in and we index it, which means just mushing it all together, non-technical term, and then we layer all that data and we match up brand data. So many of our customers have multiple things to their name. So Saint-Gobain, an example, their database has almost 75 attributes, 12 different certifications. So we put all that data together. So instead of looking at a single piece of documentation, you'll see this product has carbon disclosure, health disclosure, Energy Star, Water Sense, and a lot of other brands have 20 to 30 first-party claims of other things that they want to share with you, 3-part specs. So we're really trying to pull together all the data scavenger hunting you want, and on a monthly basis, we refresh the data. What's happening now is that not only are we doing that kind of great work, but there's a lot of distributors out there that are beginning to do that process where you get it. So the makers are important. They're part of the Marvel trilogy of superheroes. The distributors that sell it to you every day, they're a vital resource because they actually know a lot of this data as well. And then ultimately you have the subs and the trades, which are part of this Marvel, analogy. They're going to come out and actually do the work. And what we're finding is you kind of need to have all three working in unison to really make that happen. But our data is a monthly kind of free pull, and then you guys can do with it what you want.
Great. Colin, Saint-Gobain. As a manufacturer and strong supporter of HPDC, Ecomedes, and obviously EBA, since you guys are here, how is Saint-Gobain helping high-volume builders access healthier, sustainable materials at scale?
Yeah, absolutely, and no, we are a strong supporter, and I know that Dennis, my manager, has worked with you guys since, very, very early on, since your inception. But yeah, no, we use health product declarations and transparency documentations to really understand all the health and environmental components of our products. And we also do that to understand what customers really value, because this really impacts our product development roadmap. Anytime we have a new product, we screen it through 50 lists of chemical concern, relevant to the EU, North America, or just the building industry. And all of those transparency documents are on Ecomedes, and that's an amazing place for it because it's really a centralized location. It saves, contractors and buyers so much time, so many clicks. They don't have to go from website to website. It seems like you would have benefited a lot from that as well. And it really enables, a lot of the buyers to make the appropriate sustainable decisions, whether it's our products or not, appropriate for their project that they're working on. So that's one, and then certifiers. Our transparency documents help certifiers to assess our products and see if they're eligible for, Clean Air Plus or other things like that. And we also use HPD Builder a lot, that database, during product development to, corner any potential risks of chemical concern in the future so that we can address it before those products ever hit the shelves. And then you asked about at scale. We're a massive company. We've been around for 100 years in North America, 360 years globally. and our reach is really, really large and vast. So no matter what we're doing, there's going to be consequences at scale. And I think by really putting product transparency into our corporate culture, into our systems, and screening entire product categories, it really is making that difference at scale.
Great, thank you. All right, next one for Empire Homes. In your work, Andrew, how have builders integrated healthier materials into their designs without compromising speed or affordability?
Still figuring that one out. So our first test bed is we're doing 140 homes that has our starter tier for the Earth 360 concept. It's called Earth 360 Air. And we're pre-meeting with all the trades, suppliers, and the verification people in order to be able to figure this out. Do we do 10 houses at a time? What do we do in terms of going through it? We know already at the very, very front end, as an example, every home comes with extra windows, as ventilation is a very, very key part, and natural ventilation is important. So they've all been designed already. So every house has had a slight modification of where we can put that extra window for cross ventilation on it. And I just hope that all comes together on the first 140.
All right. For EBA, Aaron, how does EBA support builders adopting healthier products sourcing frameworks? And how can builders leverage these tools most effectively?
Yeah, well, I think is it still up, the eba.ecomedes? Or is it? Okay. Well, okay, I'll state it this way. I think it's partnering with Ecomedes. I think what I learned, I really came back to residential market from commercial market. And a lot of our friends in the commercial market, I mean, they're years ahead on this and looking for this data. And I think it's bringing the tools to bear. You know, we've seen it in EPDs with the BEAM tool and looking at carbon footprint and all those great things. But I think it's really bringing in some of our friends, some of our partners, and saying, here's a really incredible tool set that's already being used by the commercial industry that can really be translated very quickly to our industry. So having a tool like ecomedes.com is something that our raters could do. I mean, you know, when you get to having to do your Indoor AirPlus, a lot of that is self-reported, but I think sleeping at night and knowing, hey, we've screened this for Indoor AirPlus variables through a tool that's been in use for how many years now, Paul? Yeah, 10 years now. Boy, that makes me sleep better at night, right? I still think there's a piece where you've still got, and you've probably learned this, Andrew, you can spec it on the house, and you can tell everybody you're going to put in this type of paint, but boy, you almost got to go to the job site and make sure that that's the paint going in the building. Do you have a story to go with that?
Yeah, I have a story.
Right?
It's a pet peeve too. So in this house, we took out all OSB. Everything in the house is plywood, and we can have a whole discussion about it, but plywood has roughly half the formaldehyde content of OSB. The baffles in the attic were all OSB. I had to remove it. I just didn't show up once for a couple of hours.
Yeah, and you were getting the OSB popped in, right?
But the real big piss off for me is the electrician didn't get it.
Yeah.
And so he found a piece of OSB.
Oh no!
And he
Put it as a
installed the
backer?
electrical panel
Yep.
on that piece of OSB, and I'll never get it out. It's just like there's one piece there that I can't get out.
Yeah. So I think it's the first step is knowledge, right? And knowing what tools are available and trying to speed all of your journey toward healthier homes. But the second is you got to drive it to your stakeholders, right? We've got great manufacturers that have great products, but if you don't go out and check when your guys are loading sheetrock that they got the CertainTeed product, I will tell you, anybody remember the Chinese drywall thing that happened? That was terrible, right? And now everybody, or remember was it Lumber Liquidators with their flooring? Yeah. That they were just buying some flooring and the guys were like, well, you know what would be just as good if we just stamp Carb 2 compliant, no added debris or formaldehyde on it. We'll never test it, we'll never do any of it. So some of this is like certainty of your supply chain and making sure. Let the people that have done the heavy work trust some of our US-based manufacturers. I mean, I can tell you, I'll give you some really easy points. If it's a $55 billion manufacturer like Saint-Gobain, They have done the work. They have gotten the certifications. They have done the VOC. They've done the air testing, right? But you know, like I know I probably shouldn't use luxury vinyl tile, right? But customers love it. And I called, Wendy and Gail Vittori at Health Product Decoration, like, just make sure you use US made, right? Because there are some great suppliers of this product from US and from Europe that have got, so I'm using the best option I have available. It doesn't necessarily cost anymore. I can pull up and look at the HPD. So I think from an EBA, it's, hey, we're having this discussion today. We're showing you the tools. We'll continue to do education around this. But I think what I've heard from our industry is, hey, healthy homes are so important to us, and resiliency is so important to us. That's where we want to kind of continue to drive the conversation forward.
Absolutely. Paul, another question for you. For Ecomedes, can you share a real-world example where Ecomedes helped a builder /spec time while improving health or sustainable outcomes?
Yeah, every month we have between 20 and 40,000 people come in, and we track like what their registration is and all that stuff.
To your office?
No, luckily I don't. One of the reasons was
Batman.
I traveled way too much away from my two young daughters, and when they were in middle school and I built Ecomedes, you know, one of the things they said is, why do you travel so much? And I said, well, it's because I have to go and help people, and I've kind of sat back after that night and realized I was just helping people with spreadsheets, so I don't want to go on it. So I get to help people every day that I'm sitting here. There's probably a couple thousand people on the platform today looking for better products. What we see is the biggest search flow is a person coming in, either clicking one of the rating systems, LEED, WELL, Living Building Challenge, one of those things. So they have like a rubric or a north end, you know, part of their navigation, and then they'll go click a filter like an HPD. HPDs declare cradle-to-cradle material health. Those are the second most trafficked flows of information around human health. So what I always, you know, when I started in this was all people, planet, and profit. That was a triple bottom line. We're kind of dialing in more and more comfort, and ever since COVID, the spike on more people looking for human health stuff has really been going up and up and up. And it's not as, I don't want to say it in a way that's going to get my carbon friends in the cabal or mafia upset, but like human health is something that's very, very straightforward and easy. I have asthma, my daughters have asthma, we have a fresh air makeup in our house, and we have a central dehumidifier. There's nobody that I know other than my clients in our area that have that. And these are people, I mean, there are people around me who have multi-million-dollar houses on the water. Like, how would you not do that? Your kitchen cabinet knobs cost more than that. But someone told them that Carrera marble is valuable. Once you say, well, how valuable is human health? 3 of your family members take Zyrtec every day. That's probably got a lot of side effects, where fresh air is, you know, if anybody here has a CPAP machine, it's like the best medicine, because it's just, we're prescribing you air. Right, and I think human health and the way the transparency industry is going, especially HPDC, is it's just a full disclosure. Like you don't usually eat stuff that's not disclosed with the ingredients. Why would we do that for our home? It's such a complex, multi-branded, multi-ingredient thing. We spend so much time in it. I find it kind of shocking that it's taking us this long. Commercial is a little further ahead because there's liability involved, like licensing liability, the owner of the building, CBRE, JLL, so there's like lawyer stack. I think Joe said it pretty good this morning, like lawyers have got us into a lot of these things, because when you get sued, you start learning building science. I think in the home buyer market, it's kind of like, how do you get to low VOC? But your transparency documentation we get from HPDC is the deepest, most digitized data we get from anybody. So I'm really proud to support you guys' efforts.
Great, thanks, Paul. Colin, Saint-Gobain. What innovations or programs are you rolling out that specifically aid builders balancing performance, cost, and health metrics?
Yeah, I mean, for starters, my sustainability team, we're in a really close relation to our research and development to evaluate not just new product development, but legacy products as well. And one important thing to mention about new products is if there's a risk of chemical concern, no matter what the performance or cost value prop is, it's not going to be permitted. Our goals come first. Our goals are better for planet, better for people, to be the worldwide leader in light and sustainable construction. So, you know, if there's any concern, they're not going to hit the shelves. We're going to have to mitigate from the onset. You know, that said, there are some things that we are really excited about. One is not just focusing on selling individual products like insulation or wallboard, but entire wall systems. So we have some people that are here today. It's called OPA. This is very exciting for us. One Precision Assembly. And this
Is that from
our-
your travels in Greece, OPA?
No.
Oh, I just wanted to check.
Yes, I personally
You
titled
got to
it
name
for
that one?
reason.
Yeah, nice.
But yeah, no. So I mean, what they do, they're off-site solutions team, and they it's like a prefab that's made off-site in a factory, and then it's delivered to the job site, and that gives them the opportunity to monitor everything from throughout creation, really. And through that, they're able to increase the installation efficiency and lower the embodied carbon and lower the carbon operations going into that. In addition, monitor the health impacts and optimize the indoor air performance. I mean, another side note, it gets really cold up here, so I hear, and you're able to continue to build those products, those systems in factories in the off season when construction is not really going on outside, so you're still able to continue, working on your projects. But there are some people that can talk in much greater detail to this than I can. Our main brand, Certainty, they have a booth outside, and our OPA team is there, along with our solar division. So I recommend you go see them. And is Omar in the room right now?
Right over there.
Right over there? Yeah, he's your guy. So go talk to him if you want to learn more. I highly recommend it.
And that first OPA plant is in Pennsylvania, is that right?
I believe so.
Yeah.
Is that
Pennsylvania?
correct? New Hampshire.
New Hampshire, okay. I knew it was somewhere up. Nice.
Great. I think booth number 6 or something. Yeah, look at the chart. Yeah. All right, next one, Andrew. What role do platforms, or could platforms like Ecomedes or manufacturer partnerships like Saint-Gobain's play in enabling better design decisions in high-volume workflows?
Oh, wow, that's a juicy question. Yeah. I think every person in procurement and design needs to become aware of it in terms of doing it and being able to have it where it's immediate information that's embedded in the work. And it would be ideal if you could actually have a selection that works backwards, and you find out exactly what the VOC load is for a house, just as we have a carbon load. Wouldn't that be great to be able to know and what's contributing to it? So the building envelope might be 50% of the full load of what we're working with. So I think we got a ways to go. There's a whole education that's required, why we're doing this, what's in place. It's got to get personal. I got into this because I have family members that have got challenges. My daughter has got asthma because of an electronic filtration system that I bought into early before understanding that it's actually generating ozone. Ozone generates VOCs and formaldehyde, and that every time you hear it spark, that's a new VOC that's in the air. And so education, I think, across the board is probably the most important thing.
Very good. Aaron, last question. Beyond today's session, what support or follow-up resources can attendees access through EBA to stay on the leading edge?
Yeah, well, I'd encourage you to stop by the booth out front. We've invited our partners to be here with us, and definitely check out ecomedes.com and check out Health Product Declaration Collaborative. And Colin, I think you have a new tool. Are we talking about that today or not? That maybe there'll be a new tool for builders to kind of simplify things?
Yeah, we can. I wasn't sure how much we wanted to get into detail, but yeah.
Yeah. So I think you'll see some new tools coming out, but I definitely encourage you to start at HPDC and at Ecomedes. I think it'll save months of effort into getting to some of these things. And just personally, I was amazed. We just redid our kitchen, and I knew from Indoor AirPlus and from time at HPDC, I want kitchen cabinets that are no added formaldehyde, carb 2 compliant, and I can't tell you how difficult it was to get that data in the market. Andrew, do you want to?
Yeah, well, I actually created that, and it was like we found a sucker or a great manufacturer.
Yeah.
They do, half of our houses, and so it's hundreds of houses at this particular market. And they were willing to create a kitchen that was, I specified the carcass, everything carb 2 compliant.
Yeah.
We put plywood where we could, or we bought better particle board where we couldn't. We closed all the edges of all exposed edges on the cabinets itself. But the big thing is they were willing to shut a line down, which was a very, very difficult part. Blow out the solvent chemicals in that line for finishing. Put in the water-based finishes and for the paints, and then blow that out and put the chemicals back in for the regular
Yeah.
line. And so,
I want to juxtapose that experience with, some of you went to my house today to see the Altherma product, but the kitchen cabinets in that house, anybody ever use smart cabinetry? Raise your hand if you use smart cabinetry. This is, I mean, it is builder grade all day long. Guess who came back with their HPD, with no additive formaldehyde, with Carb 2 compliant? The cheapest, the most value cabinet manufacturer I know, that I will tell you in the Minneapolis market, I think most of our big four builders use. Do they even know that it's meeting all these requirements? So I was blown away. So you may get a situation where, yep, you've got to run a custom line, but I think a lot of the big manufacturers are already doing this. We just haven't asked for the data yet. And that's something that would be really important to our homeowners, don't you think, Andrew?
yeah, no, I think, and just in the case of the experience, so all that ended up costing us twice as much for the cabinets, and then they discounted it by 50%. So I was back at where I needed to be for it. But this manufacturer, which is not a small manufacturer, said, if you give us enough volume, we'll dedicate a line, and if it is more expensive, it'll be very, very small difference,
That's
which
great.
is what a commitment gives you.
Yeah, fantastic. You want to do a question? Me? No, I mean, should we open it up for questions?
Oh, sure.
Yeah. Anybody have a question that
Yeah.
they'd like to do, and if we can get a microphone? Or are you all asleep? Oh, there's some people alive over here. That's good. It's the VOCs in the room. Any questions, any experiences to share? Colin, I guess you can ask another question. I don't see anybody. Yeah.
Yes. I heard ERVs. I didn't hear
ERV,
the rest
what
of it.
year did you start using ERVs?
Everybody had to use ERVs in 2018 in Ontario.
2018, but you guys were using them. You guys were using them roughly around 2009.
Well, we went into, we're one of the early adopters for Energy
Exactly.
Star.
You guys. It was a big leap forward. What
Yeah.
precipitated that?
I think it was just a leap into that wanting to build a better house. And we're about 20 to 30% above a code built house. I recently found an incredible discovery, an importer of Italian specialty goods. And I love the way that he explained what he's got, because it's really our strategy. Is we don't want to be the cheapest, because you can get that everywhere else, and we don't want to be the finest, because that's not a business that we can sustain. We want to be 20 to 30% above market. You can buy magnificent wines there. There's no wine that's over $30. And he does all the best Italian restaurants in Toronto. And I'm slowly working
There's
through
some
that.
good ones in
I'm slowly
Toronto,
working through
by the
that
way.
list.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's basically where we are. We're not the cheapest out in the marketplace by far. We're not the most expensive. We found a spot where we're in that 20, 30% mark, and you have to do something to earn it.
And my answer to that would be, thou shalt put in an ERV. So you're in Minnesota. Thanks for being our guest. ERVs were code, I can't remember what, but they've been in the code now in Minnesota for
2018 in Ontario.
Yeah, I think we were 2012 here in Minneapolis. And
Smarter than us.
I think we've got it down where it is like that much of an upgrade to do an ERV in the house. And there's also an interesting part. When, years ago, it was always an HRV. And you can tell today, like, this is unusual weather. We are super hot and super humid in the second half of September. That's not normal. HRVs are moving northward, further and further. My other joke with Andrew is, when I first met him, I said, oh yeah, I grew up north of Toronto. He's like, where? I said, Minneapolis. So how much further north are we? We're 44 degrees north latitude
Yeah,
here. I think you're 41 or 42,
Yeah,
right?
You're much colder here
Yeah, we're much colder here.
and longer.
And longer cold, yeah.
You guys maybe want to just talk about the acronyms you just used for people that don't know?
Oh, sorry. ERV would be energy recovery ventilator. HRV would be heat recovery ventilator. The difference being an ERV is going to recover some of your sensible load, your humidity exchange coming through the system.
Yeah, I like to describe it as cold air and hot air having sex on the
Oh
way out.
boy. The views of this panel are not
Jeez, let's
subscribed to
keep
by...
it on the Marvel here, not.
He's Italian. Any other questions? Oh, there's a question on the screen here. Did you see this? So smart cabinetry is the brand name. So if you Google in your magic box in your hand right now, just smart cabinetry, that's the name of the company. And they are a builder grade cabinet, but they have, again, my surprise was for my own house, they had all of the certifications from the lowest end cabinet you can buy from any lumberyard in the United States. How did you do that?
That's cool.
That was cool. Wow. I guess you can text in questions now. I'll learn more about that at the break. Any other questions? Colin, last thoughts or? What? Corey. Where's Colin? Colin. Hey, Colin. It's nice to meet you.
If I look as good as Colin, I'll take it. Man.
Yeah.
All right, hey, we'll end with one last question to all the panelists. So if a builder were to pick just one immediate action to begin with no added budget, what should they do tomorrow?
Well, I'll add a quick one, but it's just a reiteration. Again, with any cabinetry, any millwork that you put in your house, you can absolutely do carb to no added urea formaldehyde. You can specify it tomorrow. You can get it from your suppliers. It's no added cost, and it'll hugely impact your VOC load of the house. Andrew?
Yeah, huge. If I had almost no budget, change the filter in your furnace from, I hope it's not a MERV 8, to a MERV 13. If it's a new furnace, just check with the HVAC consultants, but at least a MERV 11. Your lungs will thank you immensely for it. The smaller the particle, the more it dominates and gets lower and deeper into your lungs and into your veins. And so that's a $10 or $15 tip.
Next, can you repeat the question?
Yeah. What's something that builders can do tomorrow for basically, we'll say basically free, to take the next step in like the sustainability and energy efficient journey?
Oh, I mean, they should go on Ecomedes and they should learn how to work with that. I mean, if they can learn how to read their HPDs and learn how to assess and understand what they mean and how to evaluate their sustainable products, you're empowering yourself to make amazing sustainability related decisions and decisions of products that are going to be really good for the projects you're working on. So, I mean, I would say learn Ecomedes as much as you can.
And also,
Wait, that was a plant.
Thank
Wow.
you. I owe you $100. No, Ecomedes is free, so that's my free plug. I think the reality is we have 1.8 million products in any given time in the month. They all have data, so if you pick any product in any category that has some of that data on there, you're probably going to get something more transparent than what you already have. And with great partners like St. Gobain, it's a market rate product. So drywall, roofing, all the things that they have. In most cases, the brands that are being transparent and actually putting all that data into our tool, they'll have 25 to 30 different things that they'll be transparent with you on. And it's kind of like an eHarmony dating profile. There's just more points of compatibility, and whatever you decide to go find, it'll be greener than probably the stuff that doesn't give you any data.
That's right.
Perfect. All right, well, that's the end of the time. Thank you, panelists. Thank you so much.
you.
Great job.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then come talk to us out on the booths. We'd love to show you some more details on how you can get started tomorrow. Thank you.
Just from a housekeeping, the manufacturer's showcase reception, so you have drink tickets in your holder. You can redeem those next door right now. Great. See everyone over there. Thank you.
Great.